Hey everyone, I am back. It is Tuesday and I am actually in a nearby conservation area. It's winter and so of course it's not green and lush and beautiful, but it's still beautiful in its own way. Even though everything's asleep right now, I'll hunker down against the harsh weather. I encourage you to get outside as often as you can. It's good for you. It's good for the soul. But anyhow, I have a few things to cover today. And before I do that, I want to let a few of you know who have bought the Homesteading Way stickers, these vinyl decals, to support the channel. They are in the mail. You should be getting them soon, and thank you again for helping to support Homesteading Ways. And if any of you want to get one, there is a link down in the description box. I tried to make sure that the link is now in pretty much every video. And I think it's also, if you go to the channel page, the actual channel page, if you go in that about section, it should be in there as well. Anyhow, this is the beginning of a series on prepping, and primarily just, at least for now, prepping for like a natural disaster, some kind of catastrophe, you know, that could last anywhere from a day to a few weeks. So to start with, the last video I talked about people, when I asked them what would be their main problems, concerns, if they were to lose power for a week or two, you know, what would be the most critical to them. And the number one answer, without a doubt, was water. And then number two was just power in general. So I thought we would cover water to start with. So now, if your power is out and you're not getting water from your faucets or anything like that, you have to have a backup plan. And the first thing most people do is just buy some bottled water and store it. And I agree, that's a great idea. Go ahead and do that. I would buy gallon bottles as opposed to like the single serve, the 16-ounce bottles or whatever, simply because it's more cost effective and it takes up less space. And so store this stuff in a darker area that doesn't get too warm. Sunlight and heat's not good for storing water. You can also, while you know things are good, get yourself empty bottles and fill them up from your tap and store them as well. You just want to make sure to rotate them. Clear those out like at least every 6 months and refill them and make sure they're clean and all of that. Then there's a few other things you can still do if you get caught off guard. If you have a water heater, that has good fresh drinkable water in there, so you can tap that water. If you have to use water that you don't think is safe, the first thing I personally would do is, if it were possible, I would boil it. Boiling will kill off just about everything in that water, and it'll make it safe to drink. So all you have to do, filter the water. If you're getting it from a questionable area, or if there's like debris you can see in it, filter it using a paper towel, a cloth, a coffee filter. But then you want to boil it, and this is a hard rolling boil, for at least a minute. And if you're up in the mountains, you're above 5,000 feet, then you're going to want to boil it for 3 minutes or more. And boiled water doesn't always taste the best. You can add like a pinch of salt to it, that might help. Or you can take it and just do this, you know, from one container to the other. You're incorporating air in it then, and then it doesn't have that flat, you know, taste to it. You can also use bleach. You would use 8 drops per gallon. And then you stir it up and you let it sit for about 30 minutes. And it should have just a slight chlorine bleach smell to it. Now make sure that bleach is straight chlorine bleach. No scents, no colors, no detergents, no anything. Just plain chlorine bleach. You can also buy water purification tablets. A lot of campers and hikers use those. Those will work, and I think they obviously come in tablets, but I think each like serving or whatever cleans a quart or 2 at a time. And then you can buy filters. You could have a filtered pitcher, or you could have like a life straw, if you're familiar with those. And like I have a big a Berkey water filter treatment system up at the cabin. So there's a lot of different options. I'm going to be putting links down in the description just so you can kind of see what's out there, what your options are, you know, for you, your family, your budget, all that. Just, you know, something to look at and to take into consideration. Generators. Now, those can be pricey. If you can get them used, that'd be great, so keep an eye out for those. Personally, if I had the choice, I would choose a dual type generator that could use either gasoline or propane. If I couldn't, then if I'm talking for emergency use, then I would probably get a propane generator, simply because you can store a good amount of propane without it being dangerous or worrying about it going bad or anything like that. I'll put links to different generators down there as well. Talk to maybe some of your friends or neighbors, people who do have generators, and just look around and see what would work for you. What do you need it for? Are you looking for a generator to keep the TV on, to keep the kids entertained? Do you have medical equipment you worry about? Do you have a big freezer with a lot of meat in it? Those are just different things you'll want to take into consideration when looking for generators. And then probably the last thing people were concerned about, and not all people, but people like me who live in colder climates, if we were to lose power when it's the middle of winter like now, I would be really concerned about heat. Some people do have an option of burning wood. They maybe have a wood burning stove or a fireplace. Some people have pellet stoves. You know, they can just stock up on the fuel supply for that kind of stuff. A lot of other people live in cities and they don't have those options. One thing that you could do that I've done in the past, and I'll do again myself, is get a propane heater. Some of these heaters are small but really pack a punch. And a lot of the times you can get away with not having heat during the day because you're up and you're moving around and the sun is out, and you know, you can layer your clothing and stuff like that. But at night it's a whole nother story. So if you could get yourself a decent propane heater and just run it even a few hours at night, maybe everybody sleeps in one room, and you know, you curtain off that room so that the heat stays in there. You know, that could be just enough to get you through a temporary crisis. And I'll put links down in the description box for that too. And I'm going to put a link in there for different ways of purifying your water. So look into that as well, because you just never know. The only thing that purifying the water won't work is if there was some kind of like bad contaminant in the water, and that has happened. I remember a few years ago, I think it was around Virginia, they found out a factory was contaminating a nearby river and put everybody's drinking water at risk, and everyone there was told you cannot use the water for anything. You couldn't even use it for a shower. Now in a crisis, don't worry about having enough water for a shower or washing your hair. Just use some baby wipes and dry shampoo, or, you know, cornstarch. Fix up your hair a little bit. You know, you're going to need that water for cooking and drinking, and that's your main concern during a crisis situation. But make sure to check the description box for all these links and do a lot of research. You don't want to get caught short if you can help it. Disasters and catastrophes happen all the time, all over the world, you know, and so a little knowledge will go a long way. And you don't have to buy a lot of stuff. You might have to buy a few things, but just be smart about it, you know. You could maybe look on Craigslist or other buy-sell groups and websites and find some stuff that you want to get used at a cheaper price. I got a couple of really good propane tent heaters a couple of years ago from a lady selling a whole bunch of camping supplies on Craigslist. Worked out great for both of us. I got a bunch of stuff I really wanted and needed, and she got extra money and room in her garage. So always go and try and look at that route if you can. Talk to your friends and neighbors, you know. Talk to people in your community. Well, anyhow, that's this Tuesday's video on being a little bit more prepared. Let me know down in comments your ideas. Have you been through a crisis situation like that? What did you do? How did you get through it? It'd be great to share that information. And if there's anybody you know who might benefit from the information in this video, please feel free to share it. That would be great. Anyhow, I'll see you next Tuesday for another prepping video. And it was nice talking to you. And you take care.